Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the last build video where I get this truck roadworthy. We're gonna have it running and driving by the end of this video, and while I still wanna do some major suspension, brake, and boost upgrades, I really just wanna enjoy the truck right now. So the first thing I'm gonna do in this video is run the engine harness. Now the engine harnesses you can get nowadays are literally plug and play. Usually all the connections are exactly where they need to be. I did have to open this harness up, which I'll talk about here in a little bit, but even relocating that one connection was nothing. I pretty much got everything sitting right where I want it on this engine harness. I've just been taking my time, zip tying everything up, making sure nothing's chafing, nothing's tight, and just making sure everything's got enough slack so that it looks nice and neat, but also is very functional. Wanted to say a couple of things. I had to relocate the fuel pressure sensor connection. On the stock intakes, I believe it's about midway on the intake, which that would have been perfect. But on this particular setup, I put my sensor on the back of the fuel rail. So good thing Holly uses split loom. That stuff's super easy to work with. You just open it up, move the connection to wherever you need it, and then put the split loom back on and tape everything back up so you're not having to unpin any connections or anything like that. Another thing I had to do was I had to order a new coil pack wire harness. This kit did not come with one. I have the originals, but they're pretty old, so I decided I'd just go ahead and get a new set coming in. They'll be here in a couple of days. As soon as they come in, we'll throw those in the truck. And then the last thing was I don't have an air temperature sensor right now. When we build our intake, we'll be able to install an air temperature sensor up there, so we just have a loose wire hanging up front with nowhere to go. So now we pretty much got the engine buttoned up. I'm gonna jump on the transmission harness, and then we're gonna figure out where we're gonna mount our engine control unit. I ran the transmission harness the same way I ran the engine harness. There's this massive hole in the firewall where the clutch linkage was. Now that's an automatic. I'm not gonna need this anymore, so it's perfect for running the harnesses. Got a couple of connections hooked up, and that part was done. Now I can move on to mounting the control box. Now I chose to put this box on the upper portion of the cowl behind the dash. I could still access it if I need to, but it's in the cab and out of the way and not in the engine bay. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't exposed to any high temperatures or any potential weather, road debris, water, anything like that. I think the wiring was probably the most daunting task for me. I'm not a wiring guy, it's not my thing, I really hate doing it. But it was actually really enjoyable to be able to lay the harness out, figure out where I wanted to route the wires, where the connectors were that I needed to get to, and then even having the ability to manipulate the harness to what I needed for this particular install was really helpful. So I've reached about all I can do with this install. We're gonna get the truck over to C10 Metal. He's doing the full exhaust work, he's doing the full body harness, as well as finishing up the Vintage Air AC kit, and he's gonna button up the Terminator X Max kit install as well. So now I've pretty much gotten everything done with the truck, and we're ready to throw on the front clip. So let's grab some fenders and start getting this front clip put back together. This was the first time I had seen the front sheet metal on this truck, and I got super amped once the fenders and grille went on. I got the hood installed the next day, but had to get some beauty shots of everything coming together. All right, we just made it to C10 Metal. I'm gonna talk with Chris and see where he wants me to put this truck, but maybe he'll give us a shop tour and we'll do a rundown on what we're doing with the C10. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's going on, man?
How you doing?
All good, brother.
Awesome, awesome. And of course, when you walk in, it's lovely Kim.
Hi, guys.
But yeah, man, take us around back and show us this shop before we start talking about the C10. Now, I've seen this truck driving around town, but I have not met the owner yet.
Great guy.
Yeah.
Awesome truck. We're really happy to be working on it. It's another great project, man. We love these trucks. So.
Heck yeah. And you work on everything.
Yeah.
I mean, just about everything. Yeah.
Just about everything, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you were telling me about this LS1 back here. For
LS1, we're putting in an 87 IROC.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of work done to it. It should be really nice. It's going to have a gear star transmission behind it.
Yeah.
Ought to be a fun combination. So
nice.
Yeah.
Man.
So from old stuff to new stuff, you know, we like it all, man. Let's see what's going on in here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, this is killer, bro.
Been putting a lot of hours in.
Yeah, I've been watching you and all the hard work you've been putting in. It looks wonderful.
Yeah.
We're excited about getting this thing wired up and getting it running.
Perfect.
I mean, that's our goal. We'd like to be able to get it started and drive it around, you know, and then get the bugs worked out, maybe get the alignment straightened out on it and make sure that's good. And of course, whatever else you need us to do. But I know this is your baby, so
yeah, man.
You've done great work on it.
Thank you.
We're super happy and honored to be a part of your project.
Heck
so
yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
We're excited that you guys are willing to take it on. I know y'all are very busy.
Yeah.
But you know, I think it's great too that we live in the same town.
I know.
You know, it's super handy for video and stuff. And I've heard really good things about your shop. And they actually have my brother's C10 on the other side of the shop, which we'll go look at in a little bit.
Yeah.
But cool, man. Well, I'll get out of y'all's hair and let you get to work. I know you got a lot of work to do.
Yep.
But thanks, Chris.
All right,
it's always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Josh.
C&K Metal got right to work on wiring the body on this truck, and just looking at this video footage they took for me makes me really happy I didn't take this on by myself, because it just looks like spaghetti to me. One day I will tackle wiring an entire truck or car by myself, but for now I'll just leave that to the professionals. Once the body harness was done, they jumped over to the Vintage Air kit. Now you see on the firewall we used the Vintage Air supplied firewall plate. We were talking about running the hoses through the fenders, but we were running out of time getting this truck ready for the Hot Rod Power Tour. I got some new inner wheel wells from Auto Metal Direct and dropped those off at the shop. So Chris and the crew threw those in for me, and Chris also measured and ordered a new drive shaft from a shop out of Jacksonville, Florida. This was something that I hadn't done before either, so he kind of explained the process to me, so next time I can try this myself. Next, they knocked out the stainless steel exhaust. Now I went with a 3-inch X-pipe setup, but hindsight being 2020, I should have gone with an H-pipe setup because it would have pulled the exhaust up closer to the body and we could have run it through the trailing arm crossmember. In this case, it had to run under the trailing arm crossmember, but that's okay because once we go back and redo the exhaust for the turbo, we're gonna fix all that. And the last item on the punch list is installing an intake. So Chris grabbed a 45 piece of aluminum 4-inch pipe, drilled out this hole for the air temp sensor, and welded on a bracket so it can bolt right to the radiator. I got the call from Chris, man. I haven't seen the truck in a couple of weeks. I've been stopping in every once in a while to just kind of see his progress, but he pretty much kicked me out of the shop for the last week. Didn't want me to come back and check it out. So apparently the truck's ready to fire. Boom.
Of course you can.
Doing good?
Doing great, man.
Awesome. I'm excited.
You should be.
What's up, fellas? So, dude, we had a couple of phone calls about this truck, man. What was going on with it?
Well, it wouldn't start up on the first start, so we had to go through all of the pinouts and the wiring and the computer system in it just to determine what exactly was keeping it from starting.
Right.
Through a lot of trial and error and help from Holly Tech and our own experience, we managed to narrow it down to a bad cam sensor. It was brand new, but we got the new one in there and it fired right up.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're excited to hear it run and stuff.
Yeah, me too. We're excited to do burnouts, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're ready for.
So I haven't even seen the exhaust yet, man. Let's check this out.
Just finished that up.
Dude, that looks sick. Did you weld these?
Yeah.
Dang, man. That's some tight work.
Came out nice, right?
Yeah, it came out real nice. Got the mufflers tucked up next to it.
Yeah, nice and high.
Yeah, that looks good, dude. That like really finishes off the undercarriage.
Yeah, it's already super clean work.
Yeah.
So,
thanks, man. Yeah, That's looking good. I told him that you pretty much kicked me out the last week while you guys were troubleshooting and getting it all done.
Yeah, for sure, man. Sometimes it's bad luck to try to film or take pictures and stuff when you're trying to start something. We've been down that road a little bit, so.
Yeah, you had a little taste of it today. So Jeff, the guy that owns the green and white square body right there, tried to film it.
Yeah.
And so that's the culprit, man. That's why I wouldn't start.
Yeah. We're gonna blame it on Jeff. He put the voodoo on it and jinxed it a little bit. So
yeah.
But you know, sometimes they just want to give you a hard time.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
All right.
It down and
fire. So they got this intake all done. They got the wiring buttoned up over here. All right.
Give it a shot?
Yeah, man. Let's give it a shot. That's it, man. Oh, man. Dude, I haven't heard this motor run since like 2018. Like, I got goosebumps right now. You probably can't see them, but I'm so fucking excited. I'm so fucking excited. I cannot wait to take this truck on the power tour. Still got a lot of work to do, but I want to take it on the power tour. Oh my God, dude, that's awesome. Big shout out to Holly, as Chris mentioned. They came through big time, just spending the time with Chris to make sure that we got the truck running. We ran into some, like you said, a stupid sensor.
Yeah, sensor. Yep.
And he spent, I don't know, what, 10 hours chasing, pinning the wire harness and running through all kinds of issues. You know, we thought it was fuel, we thought it was spark, and then turns out, it was tricky too, because he said the cam sensor was clocking the camshaft, right?
Right, yeah, it was showing up synced like it was supposed to, but it obviously was just throwing the timing off.
Right.
So as soon as we put the new one in there, it fired right up. I was super pumped when it happened, man. It was like a super emotion.
Yeah, I bet, man. Dude, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I want to let you guys get back to it. I know you got some more stuff to do, some things to knock out. But I'll let you do this crew. C10 Metal, swear to God, best crew in Florida to be able to build your badass truck. Hell yeah. Well, I could be here all day hanging out with these guys, but we'll catch up with you guys in a little bit. Back at C10 Metal, I got the call from Chris. They got the truck wrapped up, so we're gonna pick it up, load it up, and start getting it prepped and final assembled for the power tour. And of course, my favorite part, the fire up.
Oh yeah, I need that.
Charge extra for that. Don't you love the smell of rubber?
Not only is the truck running and driving under its own power, but we're doing freaking burnouts. And yes, it is a very tight fit with the truck, motorcycle, and the Blazer in here. But dude, I'll make it work. I need a shop, but this 2-car garage is serving its purpose, and actually it's at its maximum capacity at the moment. I can't say enough good things about Chris and his crew at C&K Metal. If you guys are looking for a shop to do any kind of custom work, they can knock out just about anything that you need, from TIG welding to wiring to engine swaps. They are a well-rounded crew located in Bunnell, Florida, so hit them up if you're looking for a quality shop. We don't have a lot of time before we get to the power tour, so we're going to finish up the Vintage Air install, and then we're going to turn our attention to replacing the door glass, and I'm going to contact a window replacement company to come in and replace the windshield and the rear window. To finish the AC install, all I had to do was run the AC ducting. So here I started to install the duct for the defrost vents, and then I just ran the rest of the vents through the dash where it made the most sense. There was only 3 vents to install, so that didn't take much time at all. And then I was able to install the glove box block off. Next on the punch list was to install all new glass. So I tackled the vent windows and door glass, and I had a company come in and do the windshield and rear glass. But I had to rebuild these vent windows. Now the passenger side was in really good shape. There's just a nut and spring on the bottom of the frame. Once you pull that off, you can drill through the rivet that holds the glass to the frame, and then you could pull the whole frame assembly apart. Now the driver's side was a different story. The original stud was rusted out, so I had to weld on a new bolt and then shape it to match the original stud, which had 2 flat spots on each side to accept the washer. Now that we have our vent windows cleaned up, I threw some paint on them, and while that paint's drying, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the door glass into the glass tracks. So unfortunately, the glass tracks we had started to rot, so I picked up some new glass tracks from classicparts.com. They had these in stock. I had them in a couple of days. It's definitely worth the minimal investment to get the new tracks and not have to reuse the old ones or risk failure later on down the road. So we have our Auto Metal Direct glass right here, and when you're installing the glass on the glass tracks, you need what's called the glass setting tape. So when I purchased the window regulators from classicindustries.com, I grabbed this glass setting tape. So I use OER glass setting tape, and Classic Industries has 3 different sizes. So I ordered 10-foot rolls of all 3 sizes because there's going to be different variances on how thick your glass is and how wide the glass track is. So it's best just to get all 3 up front, so if there's any variances in what's recommended, you can always make that adjustment and not have to wait a couple of days to install your glass. Installing these glass tracks is very straightforward. Once you have the right size glass setting tape that puts the right amount of pressure on the glass, I like to use window cleaner as a lubricant, and you tap it right on. Now you want to be careful because these are directional, so you just want to pay attention to how the glass is going to sit in the truck. Now I can move on to reassembling the vent windows, and again here I'm using glass cleaner as a lubricant, working the weather stripping into the frame and making sure that it's fully seated before moving on to the next step. Once I'm happy with how that weather stripping is sitting in the frame, I can start to rivet on this piece the glass rests on. And on this particular vent window frame, I had to drill out the top 2 rivets of the frame to be able to put that piece on. So now I just make sure I start riveting the frame back together and everything is fitting nice and tight. Here is the piece that the glass actually rests in. I had to work it a little bit. It was a little wavy, but once I was happy with how that looked, again, I used glass cleaner as a lubricant, installed my glass setting tape, and tapped in the glass. Once I was sure that the glass wasn't going to come back out of the frame, I cut off the excess glass setting tape and could begin reassembling the vent window frame. So you slide the fastener through the bottom of the frame, install your washers and grommets, and now I can set the rivet in the frame. Now this one's set by hand, it's not a blind rivet, and it is a little sketchy setting this rivet because you're literally hammering right next to the glass, but take your time, you'll be able to do it just fine. And then once I was happy with the way the rest of the vent window is fitting, I could set the tension on my tensioner spring, tap down on the locking tabs, and install the new glass in the door. And the last thing for me to do on this truck is install the original bumper and brush guard. Now I got a lot of pushback when I put on this brush guard, but this brush guard has been on the truck almost since it was brand new, and I can't imagine cruising around this truck without that brush guard on there. So let me know in the comments below, should I keep the brush guard? Should I lose the brush guard? Or should I go with all new bumpers and trim out this truck with brand new trim pieces and make it super, super clean? After 7 long months, sleepless nights, busted knuckles, frustration, a ton of money, I finally have a running and driving LS swapped C10 with a radio, with AC, power steering, power brakes, and this thing is a road warrior. I built this truck for the 2022 Hot Rod Power Tour. If you want to see how the truck did, I'll drop a card up in the corner so you can go to that video and check out how our trip went. Full disclosure, I've had this truck put together for just about a year now, and I've taken it on multiple road trips, and it runs so good down the interstate. Man, looking back on all that video that I took through the entire process of building this truck made me very sentimental. These trucks and cars are more than just vehicles to me. It's a passion. It's a whole lifestyle. My whole life revolves around doing these projects and going on road trips and meeting people and just experiencing the world in an old truck or an old car. There's just no better way to travel, in my opinion. And for me, it's just the best passion, the best hobby that you could ever have. So to have my kids and my wife a part of this and letting me do stuff like this, I'm just very appreciative. So thank you to them, because without them, this wouldn't be possible. I'm also really excited to bring you guys some new builds to the channel, like the dually pace truck that I'm finishing over on the Street Trucks YouTube channel. I'm bringing that one to the 2023 Hot Rod Power Tour. Me and my wife are gonna do the entire thing. I really hope I see you on the road. If you see the dually, wave me down, flag me down, pull me aside. Let's chat. I'd love to meet you. If you can't make the Power Tour, tune back into my channel, because I'm gonna be doing daily coverage of that show. I'm really gonna try to put a video together every single day of the Power Tour. It starts in Atlanta, ends in Bristol. I'm so excited to go on this trip, and I really looking forward to sharing it with you guys. But anyway, guys and gals, that's gonna do it for me on this video. I really appreciate you hanging out and watching this entire build series on Project Last Chance, which happens to be my very first full build. I had a lot of fun doing this one, and I'm really looking forward to the next one, and I'll see you in the next video.